Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Herni Yuniarti Suhendi. I come from Uin Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. In this opportunity, I will presentation about my research. The title is Formative Assessment of Critical Criteria in Physics Learning based on Pedagogy Subject Matter Approach. One of the main objectives of the physics learning process is the achievement of good understanding or good concept knowledge by students so that it can later be used for solve various problems and explain various physical phenomena. According to the view of pedagogy subject matter, the knowledge of students is divided into three, namely declarative knowledge or intelligible, procedural knowledge or perceivable, and intellectual knowledge or fruitful. Posner revealed that the problem-solving ability was included in the fruitful criteria, where the fruitful criteria was to be able to see the ability of students to use concepts that had been learned to solve problems, so that the physics learning objectives revealed earlier would be achieved. Fruitful criteria can be achieved when educators have to come to directing motive and teaching material have reached the synthetic aspect. Both of these points lead students to be able to solve the problems given during the learning process. In order to know that learning objective we have achieved, the teacher must conduct an assessment. Assessment is the process of gathering and processing information to measure the achievement of learning outcomes. Appropriate assessment for fruitful criteria is a formative assessment, where this assessment can knowing the progress of student understanding teaching material that has been delivered at each time the implementation of the learning process. Some types of formative assessment that are often used include observation sheet, discussion sheet, student activity sheet, quizzes, etc. So then, the purpose of this study was to determine the form of fruitful criteria for formative assessment question based on directing motive and aspect of synthesis. Experimental method. The research method used is a qualitative research with a case study approach. The data in this study are video recording of teaching and learning activities in class and formative assessment sheets used during the learning process. And the research sample is educators and students in class 10 located in one of the high schools in Bandung regions. The research instrument used in the form of indicator of teacher's instructor motive, indicator of aspect of the subject matter, and indicator of subject knowledge criteria. And indicator of fruitful criteria. The data analysis was formed by summing each appearances of motives, aspects, and criteria based on pedagogy subject matter for each category. Then calculating the percentage of motives, aspect, and knowledge to appearing criteria on formative assessment based on pedagogy subject matter approach. Then the results and discussion. Formative assessment used by educator is to find out the development of learner knowledge in energy learning activities. There are 5 types, namely observation sheets, competence sheets, or competence tests, quiz, activity sheets, and discussion sheet. After a discourse analysis using the indicator of formative assessment made by educator in energy learning activities, a formative assessment of critical criteria is obtained, which is interpreted in the diagram beside. We can look the diagram. The diagram beside shows that formative criteria, with critical criteria, there are 16 questions. 16 questions. Such as 1, on the observation sheet, can see 5 on the competence test sheet, 3 on the quiz sheet, and 3, 2 on activity sheet, and 4 for discussion sheet. Based on the diagram, we can see most critical criteria appear on formative assessment on the competency test. Yes, this is because on the competency test, the educator just presents many questions about problem solving. So we can see in the competence test, this is 5 questions. So it's the most appear on formative assessment. Can see again the smallest upper range. The smallest upper range of critical criteria is on the observation sheet. We can see in this study, this can, because the observation sheets educator more wants to know, just know student understanding on the demonstrations conducted during learning and the relationship with the concept of energy. So in this, so they are not to focus on problem solving. But of the 16 criteria question on formative assessment based on teaching's motive of educator, by directing and the synthetic aspect contained in the teaching material, there are 6 questions. We can see there are just 6 questions. There are just 6 questions. 1 from the observation sheet, 4 questions from the competency test, and 1 question from the practicum activity sheet. The formative assessment of critical criteria based on directing motives and synthetic aspects appears to be 37.5% of the whole formative assessment of critical criteria. The conclusion based on the research of the research and discussion is can be concluded the form of critical criteria formative assessment question based on directing motive and synthetic aspect. There are 6 questions. 1 from the observation sheet, 4 questions from the competency test and 1 question from the practicum activity sheet. And these are some of reference we use in research. Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.